Is it working?
It is working.
Is it recording?
It is recording.
I have to ask every week because I need to make sure.
Yes, we are good to go.
All right. Well, if this is your first time listening to the Message 24 podcast, thank you so much.
Welcome.
I can't talk very fast without stuttering. Thank you so much for listening. And if you are a return listener, thank you for coming to kick it with us every week. We appreciate you all very much. All right, so we didn't introduce ourselves. So if this is your first time listening, again, welcome. I am one half of this podcast, Lakhia, aka Sincerely Danny on the gram.
The crazy thing is we just get on here and start chatting and
we
forgetting to do the
intro.
basics. Yes.
Yeah.
So welcome y'all. My name is James, and so glad and so excited for this episode. So.
Me too. All right, so this week we are talking about dealing with conflict.
Problems, issues.
Yeah. In any type of relationship, romantic relationship, friendship, work, you are going to have some level of conflict.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
Right.
So I wanted to open up the floor with, I don't know why I said open up the floor like it ain't just me and you were talking in here. But nonetheless, there's a video I saw on TikTok. And there is a new show on MTV. I just learned about it. It's called MTV Secret Ship. So it's basically a show where people are dating someone, but they haven't introduced them to their friends or their family, or they haven't posted them or whatever. So
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm like, how y'all come up with this shit? But, so people are hiding their partners for different reasons. So this one that I came across the other day is basically, I low-key feel like I should play part of the clip. I don't know if it's necessary though. But anyway, there's this guy and this girl they've been dating, and apparently
maybe I can edit that in or something. I don't know. But
that would be great.
yeah.
So that would be really, really great. I'm going to send it to you so that you have it.
Okay.
If possible. If not, you know what I'm saying, we two people team over here. But it would be cool. So anyway, the guy brought his girlfriend on the show because he hasn't met her friends, he hasn't met her family. I'm assuming she hasn't posted him. So the reason why she did not bring him on the show is because the both of them had put $60,000 to the side to go towards them buying a house together.
Okay.
She is an influencer. Just that is important information. She is an influencer, right?
Okay.
She took their money, put it in crypto, right?
When did she do this?
I think this was when crypto was up, when everybody was trying to get in, but it low key was kind of too late to get in.
Okay.
And she said she made $100,000.
Okay.
And she was excited because she's like, this is money that we can use for our future, but she didn't pull it out. She left it in. Guess how much money is left from that $60,000?
Probably like, I would go with 30, maybe 30.
Less.
10?
$10,000. So he said, you took the money that we saved for our house, put it in crypto. You're not an investor. She's an influencer who just makes wigs, which, that makes money, but she was saying she wasn't making that much money, which is why she took their money, thought she was going to flip it. She did flip it, but she should have pulled it out. So the reason she did not, I guess her reasoning is for not telling anybody is because she was kind of embarrassed.
I can see that.
But do you think you can come back from that type of conflict? Because obviously that's a major conflict. Like, you took the money, you lied about it, won't gonna tell nobody until I brought you on the show. How he didn't notice the money was missing? I don't know.
They probably set it aside and not
They probably separate.
It's there.
Yeah. So do you think that you can come back from that type of conflict, disagreement?
Depends on what your morals are. I would definitely say, but me, that's gonna hit me in my chest. That's gonna hit me in my chest real hard. Cause I'm like, we already got our shit together. Like, we
I
know
think you
that.
would leave me.
Huh?
I think you would leave me. Just because of how you are with money.
I don't know. It would hurt. That shit would hurt. But the fact
I would throw up.
So it's the principle. It's the principle.
So it's not the money, it's the principle.
It's the principle. So
It's the money.
the fact that she was trying to make the situation better.
Yeah.
So I would have looked at all of the. I would have looked at the whole scenario. Mm-hmm. So with me, I'm heavy on investing and trying to make your situation better and to grow your money. She took it upon herself to take a risk. In life, you have to take risks in order to be up. Like, you don't take no risks, you're not gonna be up.
But they say no risk, no reward.
Yeah. But
you're gonna risk your house payment.
You're risking. What I would have wanted you to do if you had done this is to take your 60, not my 60.
Not our 60.
Oh, it's 60 together.
Yes.
Okay, so take your 30.
Yeah.
Try to flip your 30. And if we have 40, if we end up with 40, I'm like, okay, cool. What I would have done is now I pray to God she does not take that shit out. Like, I pray she leaves it in there, and because the way that crypto works, you gotta wait 4 years for it to pop again. So if she just leaves shit in there, it's gonna pop again. But I don't know when they're planning to buy their house and what all they trying to do. But I probably could come back from it if you had only used your money.
It's my money. I mean, it was for us, but it was the money that I contributed.
Yeah, I think you took your money, the money that you. So wait. She contributed the whole 60?
No, they both put in money.
Okay, so
it was
that's what I'm saying.
For their home.
If you would have,
this is a 30-second clip. I don't have all the details. I just gathered that.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a lot of BS behind things, but yeah, if you would have took your 30K, I think I would have had to forgive you for that. Like, that would have been a hard pill to swallow. But I would have forgave you for that. But let's flip it. You took the whole and lied to me. I don't know about that, but that's gonna be a lot tougher. It's still the principle. Yeah. So I'm like, you still trying to flip shit. Now, if you would have took the money and used it for something just obnoxious spending, just self-care and just doing your own shit, I'm like, that would have had to be like, all right, I don't know if we're on the same page, and I think you lied to me, one, or not on the same page, and you're using the money just recklessly. I think I'm good, because that's a lot. That's really a lot of money to fumble. The way she fumbled it, like, I believe in the tech. Like, it just depends on. Lying is bad.
It's terrible.
The moral of lying is bad, but the principle of trying to have us up, she had, like, you gotta know when to.
But that's what I'm saying. So if I had done that, I took our bread, flipped it to 100,000, and I just came to you. I was like, baby, I didn't tell you I did this, but I put our money in here. We at 100.
I wouldn't have asked a damn question.
You would have just said, pull it up.
Pull the shit out.
But would you have been upset that I didn't even tell you that I did that? I just said fuck it and just did it.
I think it still would have been the same. Like, I still would have been upset if you took the whole amount. You gotta know how to manage that shit.
But I took it and I flipped it.
I still would have been upset. It's the principle. That principle to me is, okay, use, like, it's separate. I'm real, like, funny about shit like that. So if you're gonna do some risky shit, do it with your portion. Don't do it with the whole portion. That way, if some shit go wrong, like, we still good.
Yeah.
In a sense, like, money management, that shit would have me tight if you used 100% of the money. It's just like that's literally, when they say do not put all your eggs in one basket, that's literally what they mean. So don't take the whole amount, lie about it, and then go broke. If you was to do that and flipped it and came back with the bread, I'd be happy as fuck, but still tight. Cause I'd be like, okay, you kind of know what you're doing with this shit.
But don't do that shit again.
Yeah, but please don't do that shit again. We're not flipping this shit no more. Give me the bread now.
I don't even think it would be the principle for me. I would just be sick to my stomach if I had $60,000 in savings and some dumbass you literally threw away our money.
Right.
I would want to vomit.
Right.
I'm not at the point in my life where I can even just fathom just having $60K just sitting somewhere, like just in my savings account. I'm not there yet. I will be there one day, but
mindset.
Just the thought of having $60,000 in addition to whatever other money I got, and you fucking, I might, somebody gonna die because what?
Gonna be me. I'm getting
But I'm not worried about you doing that. First of all, you already know me. When it comes to investing, I'm gonna just give you the bread and tell you to flip it because you know much more. I don't want to learn. That's the thing. I am a consumer. I have said it. I will say it again. I could learn to do a lot of shit. I don't want to.
I like learning. That's my problem.
Certain stuff I will figure out how to do it myself to save money. Other shit, I won't do it. I won't learn how to braid my hair. I won't. I can't. I've actually tried and it doesn't work. It does not work. I've tried. I was not one of God's chosen when it comes to that. I guess she said you can't have everything, so she gave me a lot of other stuff. But that braiding gene, didn't get it.
Can't have it all.
Can't have everything, but you still want everything. All right, so I thought that was an interesting way to move into this conflict
icebreaker
situation. You know, a little icebreaker. All right, so we can start with either talking about the things that cause conflict in relationships, and how we've experienced conflict in our relationships, friendships, how we navigate them, and how to avoid them.
Okay.
So I think
let's we can start with examples that cause conflict.
All right, so these are just some examples. Conflict can be caused by you came in the house and you slammed the door. That can cause conflict. This is just some common reasons that conflict arises. So number one, and I think this is a huge one actually, unreasonable expectations for people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just list them and then we'll kind of work through them. Being selfish, lack of communication, huge, resentment, finances. Funny that finances is up here, and I put this up here before I saw that video.
Oh, that's crazy.
Finances and intimacy are huge causes of conflicts in relationships of all kinds, I think. Intimacy, maybe not in a friendship, but definitely it can cause conflict in a relationship.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm gonna let you take the floor.
We're just gonna drop the mic like that.
I can drop the mic, or I can share something I learned. But I'll wait for you.
I guess I can start by talking about lack of communication. So that's a huge one, and I think you mentioned that you kind of listed out these and then pretty much asked me to explain or see if we've had things
we're just talking
our conflict with those. So lack of communication is definitely one, and I will talk about something that's not super serious, but one that we had that cost us a little bit of time and frustration. So in relationship,
I don't even know what you're about to say. That's gonna be interesting.
So lack of communication is very important. Communication is very, very important. So
in any relationship,
you were planning to meet me at my parents' house.
Oh my Jesus Christ!
And so
let me. But I just need you to know. I was ready to be done with you that day. I was ready to be finished. Tell the story.
Good.
Tell the story. Tell the fucking story. I forgot that shit.
I know, because conflict, it can't be mad forever. Can never be mad forever. But long story short, I end up, she asked me for the address, and I send her the short form of the address. I don't give the state. I don't even know if I give the city.
You ain't give shit. Zip code.
I just gave the number, and the name.
And the street.
The number, the street number and the street name. And so she puts that, which I don't know which one of us are smarter.
I don't think either one of us are too fucking bright, to be completely honest with that situation. I'm the dumbass that did it. So.
I'm taking full credit for the lack of communication. So I just send the street name, street number. She puts it in her GPS. And instead of it going to North Carolina or to my parents' house, it takes her to the same street number and street name of a place in Virginia.
The next day over.
4 hours apart.
Yeah. I drove 4 hours. I ended up driving 4 hours total to get to your parents' house when it's only an hour, 30-minute drive.
Yes. So you got to think she's probably very, very pissed at me for doing this. And this is all because of details and lack of communication. She asked me the question of, hey, what's the address? I send a very vague and non-detailed message of the address. And we don't talk on the phone about it. Nope. So there's lack of communication there. And right after that, what's going to happen? It's going to cause conflict what happened was it caused conflict for me because I wanted, of course, you to be there on time and so that we can enjoy whatever festivities we're having. And then 2, you're having to spend extra money on gas. You're having to drive further. You're not big on driving, so you're frustrated about the whole situation. So when we see each other, it's gonna be conflict.
Yeah,
it's gonna be conflict. So lack of communication, it's impossible to avoid conflict. But when you can, try to make sure that you are communicating.
That tested me. That tested me. I think I just was so angry, but I also was angry at myself, which pissed me off even more. Because I'm like, I can't really just blame you. You could have checked, but I also could have checked to make sure that I wasn't going to fucking Virginia. When I passed the sign that said, "Welcome to Virginia, Virginia is for lovers," I said, wait a second. I know, and I was 2 minutes away from the address. That's what really got me.
Right.
It was like, I'm 2 minutes away, and I was like, this is a different way for it to be taking me. I seen that sign. I said, I know good and well I am not in Virginia. And I was in Virginia. Had gas prices been what they would have been now, y'all wouldn't have seen me. I would have took it back to the crib. Y'all would not have seen me. Gas is $5 a gallon right now.
I would have had to send you some bread.
Absolutely. Because it's no way. It's no way. Oh, you just pulled that out of my memory. That is funny. I be forgetting stuff even happens. That's a good one. That's a good one. So we've talked about like how lack of communication can cause conflict, how to resolve that, just talking, asking questions, both ends, because I could have asked like, are you sure? I could have called you, that sort of thing. Just ask the questions. Because lack of communication, even, this is a different scenario. And this isn't something that actually happened, but this is something I'll say. Sometimes if you were having a conversation with someone via text, I would advise, if it's like a heavy conversation, I would advise to wait until you see the person or till you can talk to them on the phone. Because a lot of times things can be misinterpreted via text. Like you can read it in someone's voice, but it sounds differently than what they're actually trying to say. Like they could have just been busy and trying to send you a text real quick and you think they're being short with you. Like, and I've seen that happen a lot, even in friendships. I'm like, why are you being brief with me? But in reality, people are just busy. So if you're trying to have an important conversation with somebody, I would advise, don't do it via text. Yeah. FaceTime, if possible, so you can see the person, you can see their facial expressions, all that stuff. But if you can have the conversation in person, that's what I would advise.
The mood and the vibe is totally different.
Yes,
versus
it is.
FaceTime versus in person.
Yeah.
Still all different.
It is completely different. I think we've talked about unreasonable expectations a bit.
In our previous episodes. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we kind of talked about that. But something I did learn, I love podcasts. I listen to podcasts. Your
voice sounds so good on this podcast.
So my voice sounds so good?
Mm-hmm.
Because I listen to podcasts?
Yes.
Not because my mama made it. If my dad made it, I just sound like
That
this.
too. When you listen to something, you begin to perfect whatever you're listening to and being intrigued by.
I mean, that's true. I take it serious, I guess. Wait, I'm not trying to take it too serious because I enjoy talking to you. It's just like we're at the house talking, but we have a camera and a microphone in front of our fucking face. But I do realize for it to be entertaining to other people, we have to be organized and,
there's more to it.
There's a little more to it than just chatting with your home, not your homeboy, but your man.
Dog.
When we have guests, it's more than, like, I want it to be a conversation with a friend. That's why our guests are called close friends. Mm-hmm. But I also understand it has to be organized just a little bit so people can follow and understand what the hell is going on. Yeah. Anyway, said all that to say, I listened to a podcast the other day, and one of the podcasts I listened to, they have older women. They're like in their late 30s up there. So I learn a lot from them, and that's something that I enjoy about their podcast. Like, they have had experiences that I haven't had, and I just kind of like to listen. So anyway, one of the things they were talking about is you can have, it's okay to have differences with someone that you are in a relationship with.
Right.
But there is a difference between, like, I think they said, like, irreconcilable differences. That is like I made that word up, but I know that's a real.
That went right over my head.
Reconcile is a real word. To make irreconcile is like you can't. So they were saying, so just, I'm trying to think of an example. So say, like, we have differences. So you like to stay up late at night. Mm-hmm. I don't like to do that shit. I will get up early in the morning. You're not really a morning person. Yeah. Those are differences, but they're not irreconcilable differences.
Okay.
They were saying, like, fundamentally who you are, if that differs from somebody else, that's not something that you can force to work, if that makes sense. So, like, if I was someone who didn't value family, mm-hmm. and I know that you value your family, and if I was someone who's like, why you want to spend your birthday with your family, it wouldn't work, because that's who you are fundamentally, and that is very different from you staying up late at night, me wanting to get up earlier in the morning. That sort of thing. And I thought that was really, really interesting, because I wish that's something I had known when I was younger. I feel like it would have saved me a lot of trying to force stuff to work with people. Mm-hmm. Stuff like that you can't fix. You know what I'm saying?
But I love that principle, though, because it's not only in like our relationship or just like a regular relationship. That's a friendship. That's
honestly,
that's all relationships.
And I
learned that early, and I don't know how. I really don't.
I think the crazy part is I had already been learning it, mm-hmm. but I just had actually like actively said this is what I'm learning, if that makes sense.
Something has normally in these instances, something has to happen for you to be like, all right, enough is enough.
Yes.
We don't fundamentally match.
Yeah, and I think I'm kind of experiencing that right now with, someone else in my life, where we have these fundamentally completely different views, mm-hmm. and you can care about somebody and you can love somebody, but when it comes to shit like that, it doesn't.
It's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I can't even say when I was younger I was doing that. I was just trying to recently do that up until now with that situation, just trying to, it's okay, but it's not okay. Yeah. It doesn't work.
I'd be super good. Like, we're different in those ways.
Yeah, we are.
I don't give a damn.
I think I have a hard time when you have history with somebody and you care about somebody, and this is not a romantic situation. Like
right.
when you
I hope not.
It's not, and you know that. But I'm just saying, I think honestly, it would have been easier had it been a romantic situation. I don't know why. Like if that was you doing that, I would have been like, all right, like I'm good. But because when you start to see people like family, it's really, really hard to separate that. And it's like, we have so much history and I have so much respect for you and I love you, but fundamentally we do not click. And I think it's just been a little hard for me to like let that go. And I think sometimes I'm that way with family. For a long time I would let people talk to me crazy just because they're my family members, but just because we have a relationship with one another doesn't mean you can treat me like shit or say anything crazy to me. So that was something that when they said that, a light bulb really clicked in my head, and I was like, wow, that's literally what I am experiencing right now. Like,
the crazy thing is it's almost like everything or wisdom that you hear people say, or older people say, you normally don't ever just be sitting down and thinking that stuff. Normally,
but you're thinking it.
Yes, you are. And
yeah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. I'll jump off topic. There's this guy on TikTok, and he basically mimics what black people typically do. One was, don't call me at church. Don't call me while I'm at work. Or it would just be things that typically we do, but we don't. Like something like that of me calling my parents, I knew not to call them while they was working because I would get that response every single time. But I'm not actively thinking, hey, this is what black people do.
Yeah.
But it is.
Yeah, and I know exactly what guy you're talking about because he was spot on with all that.
Opening the refrigerator, checking for food.
I just do that stuff and I don't think. Right. And that is a perfect example of that. Sometimes honestly, what I think it was, sometimes when you talk to other people, they hold like a mirror up for you. And it's like, you can actually see what's going on. It's nothing new. It's something I already knew. But when somebody puts it straight in your face, it's like, damn, this is what it is. And this is what I need to do, even if it's not necessarily what it is I want to do. So I think another area, since we're, sharing, instances that we've had conflict, I don't necessarily think this is listed up here. But I think when we first started dating, I want to make sure I word this correctly. I think when we first started dating, if you did something that I didn't like, which was very rare that happened, or we wouldn't, but I think I was afraid to say something because I didn't want to seem like I was asking too much of you. I don't know if that goes into unreasonable. It's not really unreasonable expectations, but I just was like, well, I don't want to say that I need this or I want this because I'm afraid that I'm going to be asking for too much. Right. And I was afraid that was going to cause some type of conflict. And all of that stems from me not knowing then how to have healthy conflict. And I also didn't trust myself enough to have a disagreement with you and it not be crazy, because I was used to it being crazy, or I just kind of would suppress stuff and keep it to myself, which causes resentment, which is another example that we listed that causes conflict. So I think I just was really afraid to say anything. I don't necessarily think I started to resent you. I just kind of got to a point where I'm like, if this is what you need and this is what you want and this is somebody you want to be with, you need to tell them. And if it causes conflict, it causes conflict. You know what I'm saying? Sure. And I think the feelings will helped me helped me a little bit. And also having a therapist to tell me it is okay to have conflict, and maybe you don't call it conflict so that it makes it less scary.
Gotcha.
And she's like, just call it a conversation, because ultimately that's what it is. It's a conversation. And she also recommended that I kind of write down what it is I want to say, because sometimes I think a lot of people shy away from having conversations that need to be had is because it's really intimidating. I think sometimes if someone has done something and they've hurt your feelings, sometimes your emotions take over and you kind of forget what it is you want to say, and that can make having that conversation a little scarier than it has to be. Mm-hmm. So she recommended, just writing down what you feel, and I kind of will rehearse it in my head so that I know what it is I need to say. And that doesn't really just go for us, but that's even when I've had conflict with jobs. I would be afraid to speak up and say something. I had to kind of just rehearse, okay, this is what I want to say.
Right.
I'm advocating for myself. I'm sticking up for myself. And it makes it a lot less scary. Like, knowing what you're going to say. I don't know if it's healthy to write down a response for what somebody might say, but I have done that as well. Had a response for because you kind of can anticipate what somebody's going to say a little bit.
Right.
So I think to me that makes conflict, having a conversation, a little easier.
Yeah, and you keep using the word scary, but I'm gonna be honest, anytime there's conflict and anytime you're trying to address that conflict, it can cause a ton of frustration, and it can cause your emotions to spiral almost out of control, to where you are already in your mind getting very upset about the situation, and you're not able to actually control your emotions. When we got in a relationship, when we started talking, like, that was one of the things that I struggled with the most, was being self-centered and wanting everything to be about me, or maybe not about me, but everything that I was doing, I wanted it focused in on me. So that will cause a ton of conflict. If you are self-centered, if you're not willing to think about the other person, or willing to respect some of the desires of the other person, and are willing to, what was the word we was using yesterday? Sacrifice, and what was the other one? Sacrificing something. But yeah, if you're not willing to compromise, that's what it is.
Yes.
If you're not willing to compromise, it's gonna be tough through that relationship. So being selfish has been definitely a conflict between, I guess, our relationship and me and the both of us.
Yeah, I agree. I have been selfish in the start of our relationship as well. I think I wanted to more so focus on what you had done to me and not what I contributed to the situation, which was very unhealthy, and it was a behavior I had picked up but I didn't realize was unhealthy until sometimes you do stuff and you don't even realize it's an issue till it's an issue. Like, I am not in a unhealthy relationship, so why am I bringing unhealthy traits or behaviors into this relationship? So when I noticed it, I'm like, okay, everything is fucking not about you. Sometimes when people do things, I think we take them to the heart, or it might just be me who initially takes something to the heart, because I'm a fucking narcissist sometimes, but the world does not revolve around me. And for a long time, I thought when people did things, I'm automatically like, is it me? Is it me? And I think I'm still that way sometimes. Like, something happened, I'm like, why did I do something? Sure. And it's one of those things I have to subconsciously tell myself, every damn thing is not about you. Like, the sun does not rise, fall, moon, twinkle, stars, all of that for me. Right. So when something is happening with somebody, I have to get that out of my head that it's automatically about me. And instead of thinking about me, think, how can I help this person navigate through whatever this is that they have going on? Because me making if you already having a fucked up day, and I come home, I'm like, well, is it about me? That just made the situation 10 times worse. Because now you got whatever you were stressed out about from the day, now you stressed out about me and us. That just adds another level that doesn't necessarily need to be added on. So
yes.
I definitely agree with the how being selfish can for sure cause conflict.
And I wanted to start with this, but I didn't. But it's okay. Now I can say it now. If y'all know me, y'all know that I literally hate conflict. Like, you know this, people around me know this. Like, I think we kind of had a conversation about it. I'm like, we should never, like, I'm the type of person where I'm like, we should never have an argument. There should never be anything wrong with our relationship. And realistically, that is not possible. But
should we be screaming at each other? Never.
No. And should you be doing things that you know is going to cause conflict? No. So that's one thing that I guess I'm just super heavy on. Like, in your relationships, do things that is going to cause the least amount of conflict as possible. Do not, if you know that you're doing something that could potentially cause conflict, think of ways that you could do things to not cause that conflict. Because it just makes the relationship go smoother. You don't have resentment. You are not selfish. You are not having issues with your finances because you're taking those proactive measures.
Proactive, look at you.
That ain't a big word.
For you.
We're about to go off camera real quick. Haunt you. Nerves.
My laugh is horrible. I don't want to be laughing too hard. I just laugh alone.
But yeah. What was I saying?
You were saying just taking proactive measures. I like that. Not retro. Proactive. Yes, I like it. To make sure that you don't have conflict. So I think we kind of touched. Were you?
I was done with.
Okay, I just want to make sure if we move on to the next thing. We didn't even announce that this was our Center Delete segment, but if you've been listening for a while, you know this is our Center Delete segment for the week. So we kind of already talked about it, but how to navigate through conflict would be to respect each other and each other's boundaries, practice being kind, practice being patient. Like I was saying before, not loading on shit when it's already something there. Like, that's something else I've recently learned. If you are having, I don't want to say argument, but a discussion with your partner about something, that is not a time to bring up old shit. What you need to do is focus on the one situation at hand.
Right.
Don't go bring up something from 6 months ago, because one, if you have decided to move forward from that, let it go.
Let it go.
Unless it is an unhealthy behavior or something that they have repeated again, it's like, okay.
If it's the same behavior.
Yeah. But also, if we fussing about, we don't really argue. I can't even think of something. We really don't. If we fussing because you didn't put the seat down, I'm not going to bring up 6 months ago where I called you, you didn't answer the phone. Those two things don't go together, but you kind of get the gist. Like,
listen to this. It's like, what the fuck?
I know, but the thing, we really don't be arguing, so it's kind of hard for me to like think of something. Or if you went out and I was calling you and you didn't answer the phone. If we move past that and now we're having an argument about something else, that is not the time to bring, because you just piling on more shit that you kind of have to sift through. If that situation is still on your heart, you should say something, just maybe not in that moment. Maybe you should navigate one thing and then something else.
And I'm gonna hit them with the advice you gave them before, is to kind of write down what you are planning to say
Yeah.
about the conflict. Did you write, like, I know you didn't write down all of this extra shit that you made in the day. All the times that they've done all this different stuff. If you didn't write that and write that down, what you wanted to say to that person, so that it comes off the correct way and that y'all are able to have a decent conversation about whatever the issue is, then don't bring it up when emotions are rising. Yeah.
I think a lot of people do that because they resent their partner, though. Like, if your partner has done something repeatedly and you just been letting that shit rock, and then they come and do something, you just gonna let them have all of that. Yeah. When in reality, you should have said something 3 months ago when the situation first happened, but you just keep letting it build up and build up and build up. That's how you build resentment against somebody. And then, for me, I don't think it's realistic to try to sift through all of those problems at once. I think you need to get through one thing, and then maybe later on that day, next day, something else. But I don't think you should be bringing up past shit unless it's like, I don't know.
And I also don't think everything should be a problem either. That's big for me. Like, every little like, nobody's perfect. Every nitpicky, please don't be the nitpicky person who, if they aren't doing, that's controlling. I think that becomes controlling when everything is an issue. Yes, you're gonna have things that the person does that you don't like. Yes, there are gonna be some things that they do that's probably gonna nag at you a little bit. But if you can let it slide, cool. If it happens again, mention it. But don't every time or every single time something is an issue, just blurt it out at the person, because it's gonna make them ultimately resent you, not want to come home, not want to be around, because they feel like every single thing that they do is a problem or is an issue. So
I agree and I disagree.
Okay.
I think it is all in the delivery of how you say something.
I don't.
I do. I think it's in the delivery, because if somebody does something and you're coming at them super, super aggressive every single time they do something, I wouldn't want to come. I wouldn't want to deal with that shit either.
True.
But if you just kind of take it like, hey, baby, I know that you like to do things like this, but I just want to know if we could do it this way. I think to me, it's in the delivery.
And I still don't.
We don't agree on everything. Like, we can agree to disagree, but I think when again, everything doesn't have to be a problem. And just because you're saying something doesn't necessarily mean it's a problem. It's just, hey, I just want to let you know this.
It's almost like, to me, that's like, it depends on what it is. It's almost like micromanaging to me. Like,
see, that I get. That is controlling.
And it's micromanaging happens on a passive aggressive type way. And so that's the only reason I'm saying.
No,
I'm super good at that.
I can see that. You shouldn't be nitpicking every single thing that your partner does.
Sure.
But I do think if it is an issue, you need to work on your delivery.
Oh, like, for sure.
When people give me constructive criticism, shit hurts. But if I know they're coming from a good place and their delivery is well, I'm going to receive it a lot better than if they are saying they're talking crazy to me.
I would definitely agree.
And that's going to be the same thing if your partner or your friend is doing something and
come off.
Yeah, now you're talking to me crazy. I'm not even hearing what you're saying. I'm just thinking about how aggressive you coming off at me. So if you're gonna say something, treat people how you want to be treated. I know that sounds so cliche, but
that's facts.
Speak to people how you would want them to speak and to treat you in your feelings. Ultimately, is what I would say. Nobody is gonna learn something if you are screaming at them and you're being rude and all that stuff. It's not, to me, that doesn't work for me. If you screaming and hollering at me, I ain't listening to shit you said. Right. I'm just trying to figure out why you yelling at me. Right. But if you come to me and you say, hey, this, I'm gonna understand it a little bit better. So I feel like we kind of already have discussed how to navigate through conflict.
No, we haven't.
I mean, we still have some more to go, but I'm just saying, I feel like we kind of touched on respecting each other and your boundaries, watching how you speak to one another, practice being kind, practice being patient with one another. If there is something that your partner or your friend is doing, people don't necessarily change overnight. I think there has to be some grace extended depending on what it is. I'm not talking about if somebody is abusive or something like that, but if it's just something they've been doing, you kind of have to give them a little bit of time to implement it. But if you see that they are not even trying, then that's a different story. But if you see that they're actively trying to do something better, I would say at least give them the same grace that you would want them to give you. And then also therapy. I always say therapy. Those are the three things that I would say to navigate conflict: respecting each other, your boundaries, practice being kind, patient, therapy. I think everyone should have an individual therapist. I don't care how great you think your life is. Therapists have therapists. I think everyone should have a therapist. I also think it's okay to see a therapist as a couple, and we also have a therapist coming on soon. I'm really excited about the episode. That's gonna be good. But see a therapist, because for me, my individual therapy helped me realize I had an unhealthy relationship with conflict. It helped me have tools to navigate through conflict, and now I feel much more comfortable with bringing things up to people, to you, work, friends, whoever. If you've done something that I don't like, I'm going to let you know. I'm going to be respectful about it, but I'm not going to do myself a disservice by letting some shit sit on my chest for too long, because then I'm going to start resenting you. So those are the three things I'm going to say. Huge advocate for going to see the lady, the man, whoever. Go see them, please.
For sure. Well, I think I got three things that can help, I guess, navigate through conflict. Number one is just like meeting conflict in the face. So if there's conflict, y'all both know it's conflict, sit down. Like, you gotta realize that it's there, it's in the air. Like, you gotta face it. And then not only facing it, but forget all the bullshit and the extra emotion and all that extra shit. What is the solution? And you know,
you're very solution based.
Yes, to me, you are literally wasting precious hours that you could be spending in love and at peace by arguing and having conflict sitting on your chest. What is the solution? Okay, if we're having an issue and you come to me and say, hey, you did this and it made me feel this way. Okay, then I gotta come back and say, okay, what's the solution? What can I do? What can you do to make sure this doesn't happen? We don't need to be wasting time. We need to come to a solution. So that's something that will help you navigate through conflict and also save you a bunch of extra unnecessary arguments and then a bunch of unnecessary frustration. And to also piggybacking off of what you said, if getting to the root. And sometimes a therapist or someone who is able to listen from a unbiased perspective will allow you to get to the root of whatever the conflict is. And I probably will say, like, one of the biggest things is think about who has influenced you, because a lot of the people that you're around, a lot of the things that you hear, it will let you know why you have some of these thoughts and why you think the way that you think, or why something bothers you the way it bothers you. I've noticed that it's something, one major thing is the way that my parents handle money, and the way they talk about money. It has influenced the way that I handle money and the way I talk about money. So I have to unlearn some of those things and get to the root of, hey, why am I feeling this way? Why am I doing certain things? So a lot of those things are based on ways that you've been influenced that you haven't really thought about.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's some ways that I think you can navigate through conflict, but I also got a few other things.
Okay, talk your shit.
So there's this book, this really good book called The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. If you have not read this book, I would advise you to do so, because it will really open your eyes about why certain people are in certain situations, why certain people hold certain rank, why certain people have the amount of power that they have. So I have been actively using these laws on you. So
excuse me.
Yes, I use these laws.
I need
that I'm about to,
because I don't like this mind control.
It's not mind control, but these laws are really good if you want to become like really powerful and in a unique way. So I'm gonna jump around. So I'm gonna start with law 22.
I'm not your wrote the law, okay?
Yes.
Well, let me hear it, because I need to know what's going on.
Yes. Law 22. It says use the surrender tactic. Transform your weakness into power. So that is huge because people cannot argue with themselves. And this is one that you can use on your friends, family, whoever. If there is someone who is trying to argue, who wants to have conflict, wants to have a ton of conflict, surrender initially. Let them win the battle. It's not really, it's not going to do anything for you to go back and forth with them. One, it's going to end the conflict right then and there. Like, you arguing at me and I'm not saying nothing back, you're not going to keep arguing with me because you're wasting your breath and you're like, okay, this is kind of pointless. So I'm surrendering. Hey, baby, I'm wrong. Baby, this is, I understand where you're coming from. Baby, this is, what can I do to go ahead and get to a solution? Mm-hmm. So surrender. And by surrendering, now my weakness turns into power because now I have honestly controlled the situation. So now that you can no longer be angry at me, you can't, because I'm getting to a solution. I've surrendered. I've said I'm wrong, and I fix whatever that I've done. Mm-hmm. We can move forward, and now you are telling me exactly what I need in order to move forward, as well as now you're not resenting me, and now you're probably going to be more willing to listen to me if I have an issue, because I've listened to you, I've surrendered to you, and it's not about who's winning or who's right. Mm-hmm. So that cancels out the resentment. So that one is huge, and I use that shit like on everybody. Look, it really, like, yes, it depends on what type of person you are, and the people who are macho men or really aggressive women, you are going to, if you use this, you'll become a lot even more powerful, but it's going to hurt the people who are macho men and who are super aggressive, because they want to have the last word. They want to have the final say so. Mm-hmm. And that ain't going to do anything for them. You can even see I used this when I went to your family reunion. And that whole, or not family reunion,
my graduation.
The whole graduation thing. So the whole scenario, it didn't really faze me because I'm already like, he didn't already lost his power.
I ain't know nothing about them powers, them laws, nothing. I was zero.
I won't even phased.
You weren't, but I was. I ain't know about them laws.
Yeah. So that's a big one. And then law number 9 is crucial too, and I kind of talked about it. Is win through your actions, never through argument. So if I've surrendered, now I need to win through my actions. We're not doing a bunch of this extra he said, she said, whatever. Mm-hmm. My actions will say everything. No need to argue, because my actions will fix whatever conflict that's going on. Yeah. And then law number 10, and this is another one that I try to push on you. Not really push on you, but it works for us. It's called infection. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. So when we're, let's say we're having issues or you're having a bad day, like I said, it will affect how I feel, because I want you to feel good. So if you don't feel good, now I don't feel good. Vice versa, that infection works the same exact way. If you're happy, you're in a good mood, it's probably gonna rub on to me, and I'm gonna be happy and in a good mood. Same thing with lucky. And I'll give an example that was crazy. I won't call this luck, but it's just good vibes, good energy, good spirit, whatever. You received a nominee award when we was at a banquet that we had went to, and at the same time that this good vibe, good energy took place, guess what happened? I made a sale on my Etsy shop or whatever. So it's like that good energy, that good vibe, what you have going on, the positive energy that you're pushing, it's literally jumping onto me, and it's affecting me the same way. So,
but yeah, I think it would be cool to do a deeper dive on that and to dissect some more of the laws and the powers, and it's interesting to me because I agree with some, but I'm also kind of like, I don't really know. But we're gonna let y'all go. We're up on an hour. Our episodes are getting longer. They're getting longer. But I just want to thank you all for listening. If you like what you see, you can feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a comment. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, Google Podcasts, wherever you listen to your favorite podcast, leave us a review. Leave us a review. That helps us get noticed and other people to see us. So if you like us, you like what you see, you like what you hear, leave us a review. If you want to stay updated on all things Message 24, please feel free to follow us on Message 24 Pod on Instagram. I almost said at gmail.com. On Instagram. And that's all I got for today. I want to thank my amazing honey bunny for doing this episode with me, and you came so prepared and you were very insightful, and just I thank you. Not to say you don't always do that, but I just want to make sure that I give you your flowers and let you know that I appreciate you for all that you do. We would not be able to do this without you, because I can't sit up here and talk with myself, and I damn sure can't edit the audio in the video.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this thing, and I'm super appreciative for you, and definitely for our listeners. For sure, if, like she said, please leave a review of the podcast, because we are really trying to make sure that this thing is really good for you all and really valuable for you all. As well, if you don't feel so inclined to leave a review, at least give it some stars, give it a 5-star rating. Or comment something, or send us, DM us your questions or topics that you would really want us to talk about, because this is not only for us and just us to be up here talking, but we want to answer and talk about interesting topics in regards to relationships. So really enjoying this thing. We're really appreciative of our listeners. It's growing, and I'm super excited about where it's going. So
me too. Something I just thought about really quick. If there is someone who you would like to see on the podcast, feel free to shoot us a DM to see if we can connect with that person and maybe have them feature on an episode. We love our guests, our close friends, as we like to call them. We want to make sure that we're featuring people that you all want to hear and you all want to see. So hope you all have a great rest of your week. Y'all know what's coming next. It's Wednesday. You're almost through the rest of your week. Get outside, enjoy the sun, go by the pool, sparkle at the grill. I know it's the middle of the week, but why not? Love you guys. I'm out.